Hey there, welcome back. We're about to cover one of my favorite topics. It's your best sales and marketing tool, a tool that makes you money 24/7, your website. Whether you have a website or not, the content from these next few lessons will help you bring yours to the next level. Many business owners feel overwhelmed at the prospect of designing and maintaining a website, but it's much easier and faster when you know your ideal customer as well as your branding, which you already do. And no, a Facebook page is not going to cut it for your website. Facebook could up and leave at any point, leaving you without a place for your customers to land. Not only that, it looks way more professional to have a website branded to you and not to Facebook. In fact, 84% of survey participants believe that a business with a website is more credible than one that only has a social media page. Furthermore, only 55% of consumers trust information found on a business's social media page. Instead, they turn to the business's website for more accurate and up-to-date information. And if that's not enough to convince you, search engine optimization is a free way to send traffic to your website and make sales. Because of the strong SEO on my website, I booked over 12 weddings the season I was a wedding photographer without paying a single cent in advertising and doing very little marketing. A website is a big undertaking, probably one of the biggest tasks you'll have when starting your business. It's one of the few things I recommend hiring out because there's just so much to it and it's so important. I've linked to a formula for my Debug Your Business membership that discusses how to hire a website designer. Remember, as a self-employed school student, you receive your first year free. However, even if you hire a website designer, it's still important to understand the elements and goals of a website. Before we review the elements of a website, you may have heard the term landing page. I've seen website and landing page used interchangeably, but they're actually different with some overlap. A landing page is a web page designed for a specific goal, generally to increase subscribers of an email newsletter list, sell a single product, or receive entries on a form. They are hyper-specific to this one goal and don't share the breadth of what a business has to offer. Websites are a collection of landing pages that encourage viewers to get to know the business and its many offers. Because of this, websites are more successful at selling than landing pages. Businesses generally don't use landing pages to sell, they use them to increase leads. They then sell to these leads via their email newsletters and direct the leads to their actual website to make a purchase. While you can customize the branding of a landing page to make it look more like a website, landing pages do not have the same functionality of a website. There aren't options for back-end search engine optimization settings, advanced customizations, and analytics, for example. So it's best to go for a full website design. Many business owners, however, opt to have a website and use separate landing page software. If you choose this route, that's fine too. I prefer simplicity and build all of my landing pages on my website. And now we're going to turn our attention to the website itself. In the remainder of this lesson, we're going to cover the elements of a website so you can gain an understanding of what your website needs and how to best lay it out. Let's use my website as an example. Welcome to my website. It looks a little different than that slide because I've been doing some work, hence this little announcement bar at the top. I am taking my time with this little website update. I'm adjusting some copy, making things a little more straightforward. So while I'm working on my website, because it's Squarespace, as I'm making changes and save them, the changes go live. So sometimes things might look a little weird, which is why I have this announcement right here. Now, this is called an announcement bar. They're great because they draw attention to specific things that you might be promoting. So if you have a sale going on, it's good to have an announcement bar. It's also not obtrusive like a pop-up, and an announcement bar appears on every single page of your website, which is fantastic. Above the announcement bar, you'll notice my URL, which is the full address of my website, https://www.missmegabug.com. Now, that whole address doesn't show on Chrome, but that is the full address. The domain is what appears, which is missmegabug.com. The domain is basically your address, while the hosting is your website's house. To be clearer, your hosting is where your digital files live, like Squarespace, GoDaddy, or Bluehost. Hosting is like a house. You can replace the house on your property, just like you can switch your website host and the look of your website, but your address, the domain, stays the same. You could change your domain, like if you change your business name, just like you can move to a new address across town. At the top left side of the browser tab, which you can kind of see, sorry, I can't pull my screen down, but this is called the favicon, short for favorite icon, which is the logo mark from my logo. So you can see the bottom part of the VW bug. You can set the favicon in the back end of your website. What you can't usually determine when looking at a website is which platform it's built on. Platforms include Squarespace, WordPress, Shopify, Wix, Weebly, and more. I recommend Squarespace, and I've linked to a post on the lesson page that explains why. Further onto my physical website, you'll see the logo at the top, and to the right is my navigation, which is made up of menu items. Each menu item links to a page on my website, and underneath the main navigation, I have some sub-navigation items. I recommend having no more than 5 menu items in your main navigation. Any more than that, and your navigation will look cluttered. The pages I recommend you always have here are shop or services, about, contact, and blog if that works for your business. Also use one-word concrete descriptions whenever possible. It's easier to scan services, portfolio, contact than it is to scan what I do, my work, and work with me. If you have more than 5 pages like I do, you can organize them into the sub-navigation. The logo and navigation make up the header of your website. Many websites have a hero or banner image, which is a photo that spans the entire width of your website. It's a major first impression because it allows you to showcase your offer, whether it's a slideshow of products or a summary of your photography portfolio. It's also the very first place where you can connect with your viewer. We'll cover this more in depth in my next lesson. Down here is a cookies banner that discloses that my website tracks user data. It links to my privacy policy page that explains in detail the exact cookies my website collects. Cookies allow your website to gather analytics like how people found your website, where they're from, which pages they visited, how long did they spend on each page, and more. Most website platforms include analytics, and you can also set up Google Analytics, which I recommend. It is pretty intense, but the data is much more thorough. Also, Google Analytics is free to use. So this is the content area of my website. Anything on the page. In this case, it is my homepage. Some websites have a sidebar, which is a narrow column to the left or the right of the main content area, which I have on my blog. On my blog, it's here on the right side. So this is the main page content, and this is the sidebar. Depending on how your site is set up, the sidebar may show up on a specific page, like here on my blog, or on every page of your site. I recommend limiting a sidebar to your blog as it can clutter up your main pages and overwhelm your viewers. Sidebars also revert to the bottom of a page on mobile, rendering them pretty useless when viewed there. Back to my home page, we're going to scroll all the way down. Here we are. We are on what's called the footer, which is at the very bottom of your website. A footer is similar to a sidebar, but the content is at the very bottom of the website, and it also appears on every single page. What's in a footer stays the same across your entire website, which is good for consistency's sake. It's best to keep quick links. Let me actually get this out of the way. It's best to keep quick links to pages, popular pages, your email newsletter subscribe information, and if you want, you can add a little blip from a social media profile and any legal jargon that you need down here. When people land on your website, you want them to stay on your website. So this is why it's best to keep your social media links and any teasers in your footer, because people are focusing on the main content of your website, and this is more like an afterthought. So hopefully they've explored your website enough before they get taken away to the social media rabbit hole. I have quite an extensive footer that includes a section on my latest Instagram posts, but your footer doesn't have to be this big. Depends on what your business needs. Your footer is also a great place to include links to the important pages like your privacy policy and terms and conditions page. Again, I keep those down here with all of my legal stuff. All websites are required to have these pages, the privacy policy and terms and conditions, and I've linked to templates that you can purchase through the legal page on the lesson page of this lesson. As the majority of people browse the internet from a mobile device, it's essential that your website adjusts to the size of the screen. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is how the website is going to start looking on a tablet, and this is mobile. And as you can see, I need to adjust the focal point of this photo because my eyes are getting cut off. But on a mobile device or a tablet, this icon appears, which is where the navigation lives. This is called a hamburger. These 3 lines, if you click on it, it brings you to the navigation. So back to the website. In terms of design, your website copy is likely to be divided into header, subheader, and body. On Squarespace, it's header 1, and then there's header 2, header 3, and body text. This is where you infuse your brand's fonts and colors. So I have a header here, and then my body text. Other website elements include a banner at the very top of a website that's used for promotion or special offers. Sometimes it's called a banner. On Squarespace, it's called an announcement bar. Depends on your website platform. You may also have a pop-up to promote your freebie or special offer, but this is something I decided to remove from my website. I linked to a post that explains why on the lesson page. On your contact page, it's better to have a form box than it is to list your email address. Here we are. I tested this and found that I received way more spam when I listed my email address than when I used my contact form. And on my contact page, I also include a little blip here that shares some frequently asked questions so people can get the information they need without having to reach out to me. Because I don't do nearly as many services as I used to, I also include referrals. Note that if you sell products online, you'll need an e-commerce element to your website. Blogs are a great way to send people to your website from social media and your e-newsletters, and they also boost your website's SEO, meaning more people will land on your site from Google. Blogs also allow you to share a sample of your knowledge to entice people to work with you. Finally, always customize your website's 404 error page. This page appears when someone clicks on a broken link or mistypes a URL. On your 404 page, notify the viewer that they visited a broken link and include links to your most popular pages. Woo, those are the main elements of a website. In the next lesson, we're going to cover the goals of a website. I'll see you there.